Hi everyone, Dave Shroder with your UK Boxing Roundup on Weighing In with Travis Hartman. And have we got a fight to talk about this week? Doing this, I feel like my job is to tell you guys about stuff that you wouldn't see, fights you wouldn't normally watch, fighters you wouldn't know about. I can only beg you to watch this fight that happened at the weekend. For me, fight of the year contender, no doubt. Probably the best British fight in the last 5, 6 years. Certainly best all British fight. What a scrap! It was the British heavyweight champion, a guy by the name of Fabio Wardley, against someone who's been really sold to the UK public as like the reincarnation of George Foreman, Frazer Clarke. Frazer Clarke is an Olympian, great amateur pedigree. He won medals at the Olympics. The guy who's the current British champion, Fabio Wardley, British and European champion, was a white collar boxer. He was someone who got into boxing in a charity event. He does the same day job as I do. And he started doing charity white collar boxing, was obviously really good at it, and then progressed and ended up becoming the British and European heavyweight champion. Incredible fight. Most people would have thought maybe Clarke was going to win it just because of his amateur background and his storied career, and really what the press had said about him. They really had been building him up in the UK as the boogeyman. No one wanted to fight him. He was just stepping on Wardley to get up to fight the real big guys in the division. Absolutely total war. I was sitting watching this, and I was texting Trav and a few of my other friends 3 rounds in, saying you've got to watch this fight. You've got to get on this fight. It's insane. There's no way it can go 12. It was just bomb after bomb. It was just an absolute war. Wardley got a bad cut on his nose early, about the second or third round, and he was bleeding throughout the fight, absolutely caked in blood. The ref looked to try and see whether or not it needed to be stopped. They let it carry on. His nose was pretty badly broken, I think, in round 3. He managed to get the only knockdown of the fight in the 5th round. There was points deducted for low blows. There was just absolute haymakers swinging from everywhere. Was it the most technical fight you'll ever see? No. Was it an absolute war? Yes. It was incredible. The end of the 12 rounds, Clarke, who really by right should win. You know, he's fighting a guy who really can't breathe out of his nose. There's blood all over his face. He can't see. The guy's not even not really grown up as a boxer. He's an office worker who started fighting when he was like 24. The end of the 12th round, Clarke's almost fallen out of the ring. He's so exhausted. They get them together, split decision draw. Now, I hate draws. I really despise draws. But this was fair. Like, you couldn't see, it wouldn't be right for either guy to lose. If anyone was going to win it, it would have been the reigning champion, Wardley. He looked gassed after like 6 rounds, and I don't know how he managed to keep going. Just swinging, and all I can say to you is it's on Peacock. Watch it. Go back and watch it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. It is well worth 45 minutes of your time. You can't fail to be as impressed as I am that those 2 guys managed to make it to the end of that fight. There has to be a rematch. Obviously, it's a draw, but I don't know. I wouldn't fancy it if I was either of those, because that fight must have aged both of them. Clarke only had 8 fights because of that long amateur background. He's in his 30s already, 32, I think. Time's not on his side. Wardley, 29. He's only been boxing for 5 years, 6 years. British and European champion already. He only, like I say, below 30. He's got time to take a bit more of a measured route if he wants to try and progress. But please watch that fight. It was a great fight. Fight of the year for me. I won't see another fight as good as that this year. Certainly not one showing more heart. One of the guys on the card was someone that we spoke about before that I've mentioned. I think is a really big prospect in the UK. He reminds me a lot of Prince Nassim Hamed, Ben Whittaker. He won, but it wasn't his best performance. It was against a guy who came in on 9 days' notice. and he got tagged a lot. He put him down in the first round. He was showboating, dancing around the ring, wandering back to his stall, pulling faces and waving at the crowd and shouting at his coach mid-round and stuff like that. He was really showboating, but he got tagged a lot. And the showboating looked less impressive and more like someone coming seventh in a breakdancing competition. It wasn't as good. He has fought a lot. He's been fighting sort of every 5-6 weeks. Sky TV in the UK have been rolling him out constantly because he's entertaining. I think he could feasibly do with a couple of months off. They're talking about rolling him out again. I think he probably needs a break, but he won. He's still undefeated. He's still very exciting. The plaudits are still there for him, but it wasn't as clinical a job as he'd been doing in his previous fights. We got some news as well that someone else we've mentioned on this channel, who I think is a real prospect, Adam Azim, is going to be fighting Harley Eubank. Harley Eubank is Chris Eubank's cousin, Chris Eubank Senior's nephew. And so Harley Eubank's okay. He's not as good as Chris, and Chris isn't a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. But it's a good next step for Adam Azim, who I think will, within 3-4 years, be a world champion, and that's something I'll be looking out for. But I'm going to leave you with this. I love heavyweights. Heavyweights is what got me into boxing. I'm big, I'm 6'3", I'm 255 pounds myself. I like seeing heavyweight boxing and watching absolute scraps. Watch this fight. Go and watch it. Wardley Clarke is the fight of the year for me.